going on, man? Charlie in the box. Check it out. Look at what I got in my box today. Is going to be another I'm sorry video. And this is how we're going to start it. One day, I went shopping with my wife during Christmas time, and she seen this shirt. She goes, hey, is that you? Overbite Mohawk. I really don't see how there's any resemblance right there. But I'm sorry. The first thing she thought when she seen that shirt was me. Let's go. I'm sorry you never heard of the Bilderberg Group. I'm sorry that your government still ain't created those jobs for you. I'm sorry that you're going through some problems and you have no one to talk to. I'm sorry that we as Americans never question why our food prices are going up and what the legislation our government passes affects this problem. I'm sorry when your mainstream media tells you something's a conspiracy and you automatically believe them and they're lying to you. I'm sorry that you vote no on certain things and your government passes it anyways. I'm sorry that you ain't figured out that these pharmaceutical companies, government, and corporations are all in bed together, and those flu shots have nothing to do with your health being better, but just to get you sick and to weaken your immune system. I'm sorry that your husband gets drunk and beats on you. I'm sorry that you don't choose to understand all government does is to create tyranny on its citizens. I'm sorry you don't know the reason why our founding fathers gave you a republic. I'm sorry that the economy is not getting better and there's no other jobs out there for you guys. I'm sorry that you ain't figured out that the private sector creates jobs, not the government. I'm sorry you don't know how to admit when you're wrong and you hurt your family. I'm sorry we as Americans allow our federal government to not educate our kids and bring that power back to the state and the local communities. I'm sorry that your politicians have done you like the way they do, but you keep thinking they're gonna fix the problem they created. I'm sorry that your marriage fell apart and you didn't know what to do to fix it. I'm sorry that you put yourself in debt tens of thousands of dollars and after you graduated from college, there's no jobs for you. I'm sorry that you still think education is a right. I'm sorry that your government hasn't stopped your house from going under foreclosure. I'm sorry that you went out to the club, you got drunk and slept with some random guy and you got pregnant. I'm sorry that your government builds new courthouses and prisons to lock you up and you choose not to understand why they're doing it. I'm sorry that you had to bury one of your children. I'm sorry that the average American really doesn't care that their government's printing billions of dollars every month and the consequences of that action. I'm sorry that you and your spouse that you've loved so much for decades just aren't communicating anymore and your marriage is falling apart. I'm sorry that you think social justice is going to benefit the American people. I'm sorry that they told you they were putting these cameras up all across the city in high crime areas and you believe them, but you really don't know the truth why they're putting them up, but you allowed it because you think it's of your safety. This looks like a high crime area to me too, huh? I'm sorry you don't know how much God played a role in founding this country. I'm sorry that you think this is football, but this really is. Now that's football. I'm sorry to all the children in this country that your parents and your grandparents and your great-grandparents felt to neglect what their government were doing and selling out your republic. I'm sorry that the average American doesn't care what they're spraying in our atmosphere and how it's affecting your immune system and our environment. I'm sorry your life's too busy because of the football game on TV and your kids are sitting there asking you for help on their homework. I'm sorry you ain't figured out why gas prices are going up during the winter. I'm sorry that the banks and the mortgage companies get bailed out, but you lose your home and your savings. I'm sorry that you've been led to believe that your constitution is outdated and needs to be changed. I'm sorry that your unions and your government has promised you pensions they can't deliver on. I'm sorry that you donated your hard-working money to help people in Haiti or in other countries that actually need help because their government choose not to help those people. But the money that you continue to donate to all these problems in other countries never really get to the people that actually need it. I'm sorry you don't know how to control your credit card problem. I'm sorry that you believe that socialist programs are gonna get even with the globalist agenda. I'm sorry you don't know nothing about the military-industrial complex. I'm sorry that we as Americans never really question why we import fruits and vegetables from other countries that we could grow here in America. I'm sorry that the dog that you had for many, many years passed away. I'm sorry that you haven't realized the Democrat Party is a wolf in sheep's clothing. I'm sorry that your tax-paying money paid for windows on this house. See, there's a program in the state of California for people that have little kids, 5 years and younger, and people that have older homes that aren't energy efficient, that your government is going to pay for windows to be put in these houses because they need to be more energy efficient. If you as American choose to neglect to understand these socialist programs are going to do nothing but to tear this country apart and to spin us into debt that we cannot sustain or ever pay back, you're not going to understand how they're taking apart this country. Because if you're not going to do everything in your power to restore this country, you're going to do everything in your power to destroy this. I'm sorry that you still believe that the Democrat Party and the Republican